Alright, Matthew here. I just did a little bit of wiring work on the trailer. One of the taps was shorting out, so that's why the right turn signal on the trailer wasn't working. So I fixed that, now it's working. I'll do a little update on the engine on the Ford here. Okay, I put an LED under hood light from superbrightleds.com. That works pretty good. Let me explain what I did under the hood here. I put a Edelbrock Performer dual plane intake on here, 4-barrel, and you see that spacer in between the carburetor and manifold. I had to get that to raise the carburetor up a little bit. Yeah, to raise the carburetor up just a little bit so it'll clear everything. And I put a flex fan on here, and the flex fan is off of Summit. The spacer that's on there is off of BroncoGraveyard.com. So, and the Edelbrock carburetor is a 600 CFM carburetor. I got that at O'Reilly's. The Edelbrock air cleaner I got at O'Reilly's. The filters at O'Reilly's too. That's what's the taller one. And I just redid the plug wires on it, put new plug wires and stuff. And I did have a tachometer in here, but I took it out because it was causing a short right here. This was, I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting, because of this right here. This is the kill wire, ground wire for the coil. Well, it had a bad spot in it, so I had to take a piece of it out and put one of these ends on there to connect it back together. So it's working just fine now. And I got this is my water temp sensor right here for the water temp gauge. I gave the tachometer to my friend. He's got like a 1990 Ford f-150 for 5-speed, and it's got a straight 6 in it, so I gave him the tachometer for his truck. And anyway, I had it in the truck here on the pillar. I had it right here on the pillar, but I took it out because my friend was wanting it. So, and this oil pressure gauge that I have in here is mechanical, but it was off the 302 air compressor, but I stuck it in here for a little bit. And I'm actually going to get this is a volt gauge, but I'm going to get the same gauge, or the company that has these gauges. I'm going to go on that website and see if they have a electronic oil pressure gauge, so I can get rid of that copper tube that goes in here to out there on the engine. But I'm going to get rid of that copper tube, because if that copper tube breaks, it's going to leak piss oil everywhere and burn the motor up. And here's that copper tube I was saying about. Focus phone, there we go. That's that copper tube that's run into the cab. But anyway, it comes from the truck to about right here, and then to my 1/4-inch T down there, and right next to it my oil pressure sensor for the truck's gauges. So anyway, I'm gonna change this out. I'm gonna put a little 1/8-inch collar right here, and where I can screw the oil pressure sensor from when I get that gauge from that company that I was mentioning about. So I'm gonna get rid of this copper tube so it won't have oil leak, and then, you know, burn the motor up, you know. So I'm gonna redo that, get rid of this, like I said, get rid of this copper tube. So hasn't given me troubles yet, but I don't want to take a chance. So, but I'll start up the truck for you real quick. And I still need to tune the carburetor a little bit because when you start it up, it still kind of acts like it's run a little bit rich, so I need to adjust the carburetor again a little bit. But whatever this oil pressure gauge reads, this is what this mechanical gauge reads too. Oh, hands in the way, hang on. See, it needs to be adjusted some. And whatever this gauge reads right here, this oil pressure gauge reads, is the same as this down here, the mechanical gauge. And it's reading about, I want to say 50 to 52 pounds of oil pressure, which is in the middle on the dash oil pressure gauge. So there's that, which is not bad oil pressure, which is pretty good. And then right next to it is my volt gauge and amp gauge, and it reads whatever the alternator is putting out, which is probably, I want to say, maybe 1.5 amps coming out of the alternator, charging 14 volts, about 50 pounds of oil pressure. So the reason why the water temp gauge is not working yet, because it's still, engine's still cool. So, and here's my electronic water temp gauge right here. So, and I'll let you listen to it. And here's what it sounds like underneath the truck. Like I said, I still need to adjust the carburetor some. This is what it sounds like. I'll give a couple of revs here. Hang on. Get it set up here. Now that's with the glass pack. And the way the exhaust is set up right now is the exhaust from the driver's side comes down, goes into a Y pipe right here behind the front passenger wheel, and the exhaust from the passenger side goes into the Y pipe, and then from the Y pipe right back here, somewhere where my hand's at. It's hard to tell on camera, but right back here somewhere is where the end of the